y'all, it's me, Lauren, here with Plan with Laura, and today I am back. We're talking all things wedding, and I'm so excited. So we've been engaged for just a little bit over 2 months. We're planning our summer of 2022 wedding. Fun fact before we start, because y'all know, gotta have a story time. I actually posted a reel recently over on my Instagram, and I said that we were getting married in fall of 2022, but we're right on the cusp of fall of 2022 and summer of 2022. John Michael has informed me that it's technically in the fall, but oh well, here we are. We're approximately a year out right now, so let's talk a little bit about what we have done so far, what we are looking forward to do. I'm just having a really fun time sharing this process with you guys and all of the tips and comments that you guys have been leaving me. Seriously, y'all, I read every single one of those and they have helped so much in our wedding planning journey. Hey y'all, it's me, Lauren, here with Plan with Laura. Like I said in today's video, we are talking all of the fun wedding things as a part of our wedding series. Before we jump into today's video, there are 2 things that I wanted to say that we're just super thankful for in this engagement season. We were reflecting on this the other day and I just wanted to put it out there. So the first thing that we're really excited for is that we're just really celebrating and loving this engagement season. And what I mean by that is we've reinstituted a weekly date night that we're going on. We get to call each other fiance for just such a short period of time. And so we're really just wanting to celebrate and just like be really happy with that. And then the second thing, and this really relates to that second part that I just mentioned, and this was a piece of advice that we got from our therapist, is that we really spent time thinking about what we both wanted for our wedding. So before we started the official wedding planning process, before we started talking to our families, we sat down and we really outlined what both of us wanted from a wedding. What were the things that we had to have? What were things that we didn't want to have? And in that, we together were able to create an outline for the process that we want this wedding planning season to look like. And we were also able to create really healthy boundaries. So as we are having conversations, some of them uncomfortable conversations, we know where we are as a team and what our boundaries are, and it's just made things 100% easier. Now that I'm over being a little sentimental here, let's get into the good stuff. I'm gonna take you through the top questions that we have been asked so far in our wedding and giving you my unsolicited answers, my thoughts, my advice, and everything that comes in between. Okay, so this first question is kind of like a combination of questions, and it is, where are you getting married and are we invited? So along this lines, let me tell you a little bit about our plan. So like I said, before we even started wedding planning and what that process looked like, John Michael and I sat down and really outlined the goals that we wanted for our wedding, what we wanted to look like, the feel, the vibe, all of these things. We decided that truthfully for our wedding, we wanted a very, very small and intimate ceremony and celebration. For 2 people who come from pretty large families, that was a little challenging to be able to navigate. So we're gonna have our wedding. That's gonna be very small and very intimate in the summer of 2022. And then we are, prior to our wedding, going to have a celebration in which we invite kind of that more extended family, those extended friends. We're gonna have that in the spring of 2022. It's really not traditional in that sense, but it very much made sense for us. Again, you'll hear me say all the time, like, planning's an act of intentionality. And also too, like, traveling is a huge part of John Michael's and I's personal story. He lived abroad, I lived abroad. We did long distance for so long that we kind of wanted to have a little bit of a destination wedding as well. And so understanding the financial barriers and time barriers and commitment barriers that a destination wedding might have, we still wanted to have 2 celebrations that we could celebrate with all of the people on our whole entire journey and have them be just like unique events that spoke to both of us. So when we figured out what our wedding budget was, we allocated money to both the wedding itself and then the celebration as well. So we wanted to kind of have a destination wedding that will end up being in New York, and then we decided to do a celebration, and that's going to be in South Carolina, and we chose that because that's where my parents live. It's also where we spent the past year and a half in the pandemic. It's become a place that's become super special to us. But we wanted to be very mindful of like, ooh, we're gonna have this big weekend in New York and you're not invited to that, so I guess you can come to the South Carolina thing. That is absolutely not what is happening. Both weekends are going to be special in their own way. Obviously, the New York weekend is going to be more traditional, well, as traditional as our non-traditional wedding can be, in the sense that we'll have a welcome party, we'll have a formal, what is that called? We'll have a formal ceremony, and then we'll have a celebration afterwards, whereas the South Carolina celebration is also still going to be a weekend of events. So during that weekend, we are going to have the bridal shower, so all of our family and friends can participate in that. We have a big beach day lined up, which will be super fun, and then we'll have the celebration itself. I'm excited for both of them. Like at this point, like we haven't booked catering, we haven't booked a lot of these things. These are still the ideas. It will be fun to kind of look back at this video and see where we started to what actually happened. But those are initial ideas and those are our initial thoughts, and that is what we have communicated respectively to both of our families. The next thing that we always get is, so where exactly are you getting married? Like I said, we're having 2 celebrations, so it kind of means 2 of everything. So let's chat venue. So for South Carolina, we're probably just going to do it at my parents' house. It's where we got engaged. It's super special to us. It's beautiful, and it's really the vibe and the idea. I'm thinking like garden party theme for that weekend, so that would do well in South Carolina. Then the New York wedding will be a more formal, like we said, wedding and celebration. We actually just got back from New York because we were wedding venue shopping, and I'm so excited because I'm gonna share all of that information with you guys. This next portion of the video is in collaboration with my friends over at Erin Condren. I have a super exciting announcement, y'all. I have finally picked my wedding planner, and I am using the Erin Condren Green Shoes Softbound Wedding Planner. I am loving it. Also, did not intentionally mean to match, but here we are. One of the awesome things is I'm teaming up with my friends over at Erin Condren to give away one of these planners or one of their other wedding planners to anybody who may be going through the bridal process. Like, this is such a great gift for a bride, for someone helping planning a wedding, for a mother of the bride. So if this could be you, stick around. I'm gonna be giving away some more information about the giveaway at the end of this video. But I mentioned this because it was so important in our wedding planning process, because one of the or many of the pages in this planner actually has a space for you to think about the venues, and ultimately it's what helped us decide what wedding venue we wanted to go ahead and pick. And because I'm me, and y'all, I'm not gonna apologize for being me at all. Planning a wedding is like a planner's dream, and so I actually came up with a ranking system. So after we looked at a venue, immediately, like right outside the venue, John Michael and I would like move over to the side, and we had 5 categories that we ranked between 1 through 10, and we ultimately used that system in conjunction with our wedding planner to help us determine what venue that we ultimately will choose. These 5 categories were gut feeling, whether we liked it, whether we didn't, like what was our initial reaction when we just walked into the room, the wow factor, the price, the amenities, and then the guest experience. And that also was factored into the location. We rated all of those 1 through 10. We divided it by 5. John Michael came up with a cool equation that helped us in the process, because John Michael is such an analytical person. I'm also such like a visual person, but I like processes, so this worked out perfect for us. So let's talk locations. So to be really efficient with our time when we were there, so we went ahead and we looked at 4 different locations in New York and kind of the surrounding areas. So the first one that we looked at was called 620 Loft and Garden. When I started researching New York weddings, this actually was a venue that I had on my mood board, something that I was so excited to see, and it is way more beautiful in person than any of the pictures or even the videos can do it justice. The pros on it, like I said, absolutely gorgeous. It's the best outside space that we saw when we looked at wedding venues. It's also in 30 Rock, so it's a really cool guest experience and also just experience for the wedding itself. When it comes to cons, the indoor space is pretty much a white box, which could also for someone be a pro, but since this venue was at the top of our budget, we wouldn't have a lot of money to be able to decorate or design the inside, so it pretty much would end up just staying a white box. So it didn't have a good rain plan at all, like at all for us personally. Another one of the cons is because it is in 30 Rock, there were some like security elements and like couple extra hoops that we would have to jump through if we ultimately decided to go with that venue. The next one that we went ahead and looked at was the Bourdon. So this is a venue actually located in Long Island City, and it had amazing, amazing views of Manhattan. So we could still kind of get the city vibe without actually being in the city, which pros, cons, you decide. It was a very industrial space, but it was huge. Like the inside space was just huge for what we would get as the venue, and it had so many amenities. So there was catering on site, there were bridal suites and groom suites on site, just so many awesome things that came with that venue. Now, some cons, it was farther away from the city, so it would be actually harder to get into and had less locations for guests to stay, or we would also have to pay extra money to get vendors and things like that out there. And another con that we saw particularly for us is that since we are having such a smaller guest count in New York for our wedding, we didn't know if this space would be like too overpowering. The third venue that we looked at was called 74 White. Now this wedding venue was located in Brooklyn. So it's a very unique space because it is essentially an event building. So there are about 6 or 7 different rooms in that venue that are all different event spaces. And if you book the wedding, I think you get like 3 of those rooms like included in the wedding package. So it would be a really cool guest experience in the sense that you would be moving through different parts of the venue throughout the wedding ceremony and then the celebration that follows. It's also not a white box, which I know we've talked about for a couple of the other venues. So because it is such an event hall, there are already a lot of design elements that are in the venue itself. And if you decide to book it, it comes with a lot of cool rentals. Now, some cons is that it was literally still under construction when we went to go and see it. So when we were going through it, we didn't really get the experience. It was super under construction. And because it's a brand new venue, at the time that we went to go ahead and see it, they hadn't really hosted any weddings before. You would be taking a chance on a new venue that really, you know, hadn't had many experience with weddings, and it was just the event space, so there were no amenities like a bridal suite on site. And then the last one that we looked at was called the W Loft. This was another venue in Brooklyn. Honestly, this venue was the best price for the location and the space that you get. It had a massive outdoor space that had great views of Manhattan, and it also had an inside space that was beautiful. They also had a really great bar, which was kind of the focal piece of the room in this venue. And then one thing which I didn't think I would care so much about when I was going through the wedding planning process, but they had phenomenal bathrooms. I didn't think bathrooms would be something that I would care a lot about when I was looking for venues, but that was the one thing that I kept finding myself coming back to. Not that any place had dirty bathrooms by any means, y'all. These are wedding venues, so like they're not dirty bathrooms, but just like having nice bathroom ambiance was a thing for me. So those were the only 4 venues that we decided to go ahead and look at. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any guesses on ultimately what venue that we decided to go ahead and choose. We're super excited about the one that we did choose. We obviously will share later along the lines, but I want to see how well y'all know me. Since we've come up with the idea for our wedding and we've at least gotten venues out of the way, then the next logical thing to start doing is asking people to be in our wedding. I mean, there are other logical things to start doing, like eventually we need to do stationery and all these stuff. Y'all, I'm so excited about stationery, but that is besides the point. But we have actually started to go ahead and ask people to be in our wedding. So the first 2 people that we asked to be in our wedding are actually my maids of honor. I opted to have both of my best friends as my maids of honor in my wedding. And when it comes to bridesmaids proposals or maid of honor proposals, and don't y'all worry, the next whole video is all of the proposals, all of the people that we asked to be in our wedding, and every single little detail from the shops that we use, why we use them, and all of it. It's a good one, y'all. I wanted to do something special and unique for the both of them. I also wanted it to be a gift or an experience that they love, something that remembered it, and I didn't want it to just be the typical run-of-the-mill bridesmaids boxes that you see. I also was able to ask each of them in person, which was something that I was super thankful for. So my first maid of honor is Jillian. She's my childhood best friend. I've known her for 15 years. We've literally gone through every single stage of life together. We had planned a trip down to Savannah with each other, and this was just the perfect time. So I worked with the hotel. John Michael and I were able to get into her room a little earlier. We decorated the whole thing. We had this big like reveal, and so when she checked into her hotel room, the whole entire wall was decorated. It said Maid of Honor. Gotten her a bottle of champagne. I wrote her a really sweet note that was just really personal between the two of us. I also had a couple other things in the boxes that we'll deep dive in that full bridesmaid proposal video, because you know, maybe one of my other bridesmaids are watching this video and I don't want them to know what's in the boxes. My second maid of honor, Sarah, she's my college best friend. We met on our first date of freshman year. We lived on the same freshman hall, and she's just like that girl in college who changes your life. We studied abroad together, and yeah, she is awesome. The big show wasn't her style. I know it's not her style, so I went ahead and did something that would be very special to us. We spent many a nights in Copenhagen where we studied abroad together at wine bars and catching up and living over bottles of wine. So I got her one of her favorite bottles of wine. I got these really cute champagne glasses, and we had a little wine night in where I asked her to be my maid of honor. And again, we had a couple other little things that were in there as well, but both were just perfect and both were awesome, and both were fun ways that I was able to ask these two women who just mean so much to me in my life to be a part of our wedding. Like I said, don't worry, I will come back, give you every single little detail, because I got to work with some really awesome companies. And y'all, we even got custom planner stickers as a part of our wedding proposals that we are doing. Okay, so super simple. If you want to go ahead and enter this giveaway, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what venue do you think that we ended up picking for our wedding, and I wish you go ahead and share this video. Feel free to use whatever social platforms that you have. You can take a screenshot of this video, you can give it a shout out in one of your stories. Just make sure to go ahead and tag me over at Plan with Laur, and don't worry, I see them all, but that will get you entry, and I'll make sure to put your information down for the giveaway. Any extra details about the giveaway and all of the guidelines will be in the description down below. All right, y'all, now that is all that I have for you today in today's wedding series planning video. We're coming back to you guys next. Proposals. Y'all, we asked a lot of people to be in our wedding, from bridesmaids to groomsmen to parents to guest of honors. So I'm gonna tell you why we decided to do that and ways to have people feel intentionally included in your wedding. All right, y'all, like I said, my name is Lauren here with Plan with Laur, and I'll see y'all later.